Good day, class. This is Dr. Maria Trisha Alocban. You may call me Doc Trish. And I will be your professor for veterinary ethics. For this session, I will be discussing with you our course syllabus for the next 18 weeks of our learning process. For week 1, we will be discussing the PVMGOs, the quality policies, our course outline, the grading system, and our classroom policies. For weeks 2, 3, and 4, we will now begin with the introduction of our course. And for weeks 2, 3, and 4, we will be discussing the veterinarian and our profession. This would include employment opportunities, the government agencies that you have to be familiarized, our professional organizations, the Professional Regulatory Commission or the PRC, the Veterinarian's Oath, and the Philippine Veterinary Medical Association's Code of Ethics. For the laboratory, I will require each of you to memorize by heart our Veterinarian's Oath. Okay? And for weeks 4, 5, and 6, the lecture will cover the veterinarian and the laws. This would include the Civil Service Code and our rules of conduct, the animal welfare laws, the livestock disease laws, livestock importation and quarantine laws, especially these days that quarantine laws are highly, what do you call this?
Observed.
Yeah, observed, yes. Thank you. Our meat inspection and standard laws, the feed laws, the veterinary drug laws, and the veterinary practice laws. For veterinary practice laws, I would like to remind you to have an advanced reading on the Republic Act 9268. Okay. For the laboratory, our first laboratory exercise will be the animal welfare demonstration. For this exercise, I will require you to record yourselves on how to handle small animals. Let's begin with the dogs and cats. Okay, and I will find a way on how to divide this class into 10 groups so that we can facilitate our learning process. For the second laboratory exercise, we will be demonstrating the meat inspection sampling. Okay, and for weeks 7 and 8, the lecture would consist. Before we move on to week 7 and 8, we will have a midterm examination, for the schedule of which we will wait for the university's announcement. All right. For weeks 7 and 8, the lecture would consist of the veterinarian and how we deal with our clients. Remember, client is the animal owner, while the patient is the animal itself, like butter. And for this session, we will have a quick review on how to deal with our clients. Siyempre, maraming client characteristics, may grumpy, may mabait, may masayahin, and how a veterinarian should deal with the client, right? The veterinarian client relationship, we will need to be familiarized with that as well. And the fourth laboratory exercise is role playing. It will consist of you, my student, to act as the veterinarian, and you will need to have your group mate to play as the client and the patient, right? For weeks 9, 10, and 11, the lecture would cover the veterinarian and the patient. As I have mentioned earlier, the client is the animal owner. Your patient is the animal. Okay? For this module, we will be discussing the patient history taking, how we should how we should properly take the history. Kasi nga, di ba, our patient are non-talking organisms. So, how we should be taking, how we can effectively diagnose our patient based on how we speak with the client. Okay, I will teach you on how to do that properly. The For you to be able to diagnose an animal, we also need to study the animal characteristics and their behavior. Okay. This module would also include the animal rights, the PAWS Humane Education, the PALAS Code of Practice for Care and Use of Laboratory Animals. For our fifth laboratory exercise, we will scrutinize RA 9268. Again, kindly have an advanced reading on Republic Act 9268. For our laboratory sixth activity, we will be performing an animal handling demonstration on dogs and cats. And for this exercise, I will require you to make a video on how to properly handle a dog and a cat and a puppy and a kitten. Okay, small animals consist of dogs and cats. All right. For weeks 12, 13, and 14, the lecture would cover the veterinarian and our practice, the veterinarian to veterinarian relations, especially in our area, wherein veterinarians are they own clinics and businesses, and how they should be harmonize their relationship. Okay, the veterinary practice and its characteristics, and how we will also have a quick review on the setting up of a business, of a clinic, and practice management for setting up of a clinic, an animal clinic. For the laboratory exercise, I also included in the syllabus the correct animal handling demonstration of wildlife animals. Because as a veterinarian, our practice would also, the scope is so big that our course would include the treatment, the care of wildlife animals. So I have injected in this syllabus the animal handling demonstration of wildlife animals. Let's start with birds. Okay. And in this laboratory exercise, we will find a way on how to, we will discuss how to prevent stress while handling wildlife animals. For weeks 15 and 16 of the veterinary ethics course, I also included the workplace attire and appearance of a veterinarian. Diba? And for this lecture, we will discuss veterinary hospitals, how it should be maintained, the cleanliness and the sanitation of veterinary hospitals, as well as how a veterinarian should present itself to himself to his clients. And of course, veterinarians, we also have a field work on how we should dress up while outside the field. Dapat kasi, kahit nasa field ka, dapat presentable ka pa rin. Dapat mukha ka pa rin doktor. Okay? Hindi lang dahil nasa hospital ka, and even at field work, you have to look good. You have to act the way you are. Alright? For the lab exercise, I will require all of you to it's a dress up day. I will call it a dress up day. Like for example, for the first hour, you will have to dress up like a veterinarian working in a veterinary hospital. And for the next exercise, huh? Role play, yes, it's a role play. And for the next meeting, I will require you to how to dress up, or I will require you to dress up as the veterinarian working um, yung field work. Okay, field work. You should look good. Okay. For lecture 17, this will cover veterinary clinic disinfection and cleanliness protocols. This would include. So we are now on page 2 of our course syllabus. For week 17, we will be discussing the veterinary clinic disinfection and cleanliness protocols. For this module, we will cover veterinary facilities and how to maintain its cleanliness and orderliness. We will also be tackling the common disinfectants used for veterinary clinics. And for laboratory exercise number 9, we will be comparing the veterinary clinics in the Philippines versus the veterinary hospitals abroad. For this laboratory exercise, we will be dealing with a lot of pictures as basis for comparison. And finally, for week 18, it will be an open forum. Your questions and clarifications can be addressed directly to me. And I want you to know that in between our lectures and laboratory exercises, we will be conducting online quizzes, okay, for me to be able to assess whether you are learning the veterinary ethics. And finally, we will be having a final exam. All right. And I understand that not everyone has a stable internet connection. That is why I created this channel for educational purposes. And by the end of this course, I want everyone to understand what ethics and jurisdiction is. And I want you to know the relevance of veterinary profession and its relation to our government agencies. And I want you to understand by heart the code of ethics governing our profession, the veterinary profession. And I want you to be familiarized with the laws associated with veterinary profession and our field. I want you to know the veterinary client relationship and the client's relations, all right? For this course, you should also be able to describe the animal as your patient and to know your patient's rights. And by the end of this course, you also have to understand the veterinary practice and its association to its field. I want everyone to put dignity to the veterinary medicine as a profession. All right? And guys, I will be saving and downloading these videos on YouTube so that you can always go back to it. And if you have, I want you to comment your first name and your section. It shall serve as your attendance for each videos, for each episode, or for each module, all right? And please like and subscribe to this channel so that you will know whenever I would be uploading videos. And again, this is Dr. Lukban, your professor for veterinary ethics. Thank you.